Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Candramauli Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today is a very wonderful day. It is Mahashivaratri, the appearance of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is worshipped and glorified as the greatest of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. And Srila Prabhupada would very often quote this particular shloka, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 12. Canto 12, chapter 13, verse number 16. And the translation is as follows. Just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu, Shiva, the greatest of all Vaishnavas, so Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. And it's a very beautiful verse. I will just recite the Sanskrit because it's so musical. Nimna ganam yatha Ganga, devanam achyuto yatha, Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu, Purananam idam tatha. So this verse glorifies that Lord Shiva is the greatest of the Vaishnavas. Now everyone does not realize this. Many of us, born in India, we hear, everyone in India hears, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Very popular, isn't it? Right from childhood, we hear Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. And we are told also about each of these demigods, but we don't really understand until we come to Krishna consciousness the position of Lord Shiva. In fact, many people in India are Shaivites. They worship Shiva as the supreme, and the Supreme Lord allows this. Why? Because they are not capable of the rigorous standard of Krishna consciousness, and for them to come to that high standard will be difficult in this lifetime. So mercifully, Krishna allows them to worship Lord Shiva so that by his mercy, when he becomes pleased, he will open up the path for them to come to Krishna consciousness. In fact, Lord Shiva is very merciful. He's very compassionate. He's very kind. And therefore, bhutas, pretas, pishachas, hobgoblins, demons, ghostly spirits, all of them take shelter of him because he's very merciful. And he even gives them material bodies by putting them in the wombs of those who are not following the regulative principles. So strictly, he puts them in the wombs wherever there's illicit sex. He sends these beings to take birth in those wombs. When there's inappropriate time for relationships and people are indulging, then he sends those souls to take birth over there. So therefore, he's always trying to give them a chance. He's trying to give them hope. He's trying to give them an opportunity to progress higher and higher and come to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, we as Vaishnavas glorify him because he's very merciful. He's very compassionate. He even drank the ocean of poison. Remember, in the past time, when the demons and the demigods are, churning that ocean, what comes out first? The hala poison comes out first. And who drinks it? Lord Shiva. That's why his throat becomes blue and he's called Neelakantha. That is another name for Lord Shiva. He's very powerful. Therefore, he's very powerful. And out of his compassion, he drank that poison just to save the situation. And the Lord Shiva is also known as Ashutosh. He's very easily pleased. He's very easily angered. He's almost innocent, like a child, He's easily pleased. He's easily angered because he is still, he deals with the material energy. So sometimes he gets covered also by the material energy and he easily gives benedictions without thinking too deeply about it. And Lord Vishnu then has to come to save the situation. That very famous example is there of Bhaumasur. He was performing severe austerities, and then Shiva finally came and said, "What do you want?" He says, "I want to have the benediction that if I put my hand on anyone's head, it'll burst into ashes. I mean, basically, it'll burst and that person will be finished." So Shiva says, "Tathastu." And then what happens? So, okay, now I'm going to test it on you. So now Shiva is taking to his heels. He's running here and there, trying to escape from this madman, this demon. And then Vishnu comes and very charmingly convinces this demon, saying, "Oh, you know how Shiva is. He's just an avadut. You see how he's dressed, see how he behaves. Can you take him seriously? You can check for yourself. His benedictions have no meaning. They don't have any potency. You put your hand on your own head and you'll see for yourself." And immediately that fellow innocently believing the words of the Lord, because the Lord, when he decides to trick someone, he's a master of deception. He's a master of everything. So if he wants to trick you, he can trick you. He wants to bewilder you, he can bewilder you. So he bewildered this demon. The demon put his hand on his head, and that was the last of Bhaumasur. And that time the Lord warned Shiva, "Be very careful, don't give benedictions just like that." So Shiva is a very powerful personality. Now, how did he appear? You know, we hear a lot about Lord Shiva, but I was curious, I was thinking, what does our Vaishnava tradition say about Lord Shiva's birth? So I looked up a little bit, and it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Shiva emerges from the forehead of Lord Brahma. I would like to read out a little bit of that pastime, okay? This is from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 12. There, verses, let's say, Brahma has asked his sons to multiply, and the sons say, no, the four Kumaras, they are not interested because they are wanting to advance in pure devotional service. So we'll read from there, okay? Text number 5. In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanat, Sananda, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their semens flowing upwards. Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. "My dear sons," he said, "now generate progeny." But due to their being attached to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation, and therefore they expressed their unwillingness. On the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father, there was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express. Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows, and a child mixed blue and red was immediately generated. After his birth, he began to cry, "O destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place." The all-powerful Brahma, who was born from a lotus flower, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, "Do not cry. I shall certainly do as you desire." Thereafter, Brahma said, "O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because you have so anxiously cried. My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, senses, air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. My dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names: Manu, Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Ritadvaja, Ugareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadev, and Dhrita Vrata. O Rudra, you also have 11 wives called the Rudranis, and so on and so on. So this is just to give you a brief idea of the birth of Lord Shiva. This is a very special day, the appearance of Shiva, Shivaratri. And how do the Vaishnavas glorify Lord Shiva? Because he is so dear to Krishna. Now, Srila Prabhupada, in describing Shiva, he said, Shiva is Vishnu, just like milk turned into yogurt. That means he is non-different and at the same time different. Now, what does this mean? Different and non-different. So now we come to the verses that we are going to talk about. Very sweet verses of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is 307. Maybe my dear friend can and God sister can open it up for us. We are talking about...
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Yeah, 307, and very sweet verses follow where Srila Prabhupada nicely describes what is the position of Lord Shiva, who he is, what are his powers, and how he is the Guna avatar. Krishna expands into so many different avatars, and the Guna avatars, that means the modes, Brahma, Shiva, are all actually expansions. Okay, everyone ready? Everyone on board? Are we good to go?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Nijam sakalaya Krishna tamoguna angikari. No, we don't do this Brahma Samhita version. We do na 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 na. Yeah. Nijam sakalaya Krishna tamoguna angikari. Samharate maya sange rudra drupa dhari. Translation. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, expands a portion of his plenary portion and accepting the association of the material mode of ignorance, assumes the form of Rudra to dissolve the cosmic manifestation. Purport. This is a description of the Rudra form, which is another expansion of Krishna. Only Vishnu Murtis are expansions of Krishna's personal and plenary portions. Mahavishnu, who lies on the causal ocean, is an expansion of Sankarshan. When Garbhodakashayi Vishnu accepts the material modes of nature for the purpose of dissolving the cosmic manifestation, his form is called Rudra. As already explained, Lord Vishnu is the controller of Maya. How then can he associate with Maya? The conclusion is that the incarnation of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma indicates the absence of the supreme power of Vishnu. When the supreme power is not there, it is possible to associate with Maya, the external energy. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are to be considered creations of Maya. Why? Because the Supreme Lord Vishnu does not touch the material energy. He has nothing to do with the material energy, but somebody has to deal with the material energy. So Lord Brahma is the creator. He is in charge of the mode of passion. Lord Shiva is the destroyer. He is in charge of the mode of ignorance. And Lord Vishnu is the maintainer. So now we will look at the next verse. Maya Sangha Vikari Rudra Bhinna Bhinna Rupa Jiva Tattva Nahi Nahi Krishna Rasva Rupa. So sweet, isn't it? Chaitanya Charitamrita is so poetic, so musical. Just chanting the verses puts you in ecstasy. Translation. Rudra, Lord Shiva, has various forms, which are transformations brought about by association with Maya. Although Rudra is not on a level with the Jiva Tattvas, he still cannot be considered a personal expansion of Lord Krishna. Rudra is simultaneously one with and different from Vishnu Tattva. Due to his association with Maya, he is different from Vishnu Tattva. But at the same time, he is an expansion of Krishna's personal form. This situation is called Bheda Bhed Tattva or Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva, simultaneously one and different. And now we come to the very famous verse that Srila Prabhupada would quote very often to describe that milk and yogurt. He would say Vishnu and Shiva. It's like milk turned into yogurt. Dugdayena amla yoge dadi rupa dhare. Dugdantara vastu nahe dugda haitanare. Milk is transformed into yogurt when it associates with the yogurt culture. Thus, yogurt is nothing but milk, but still it is not milk. Of the three deities supervising creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the universe, Lord Vishnu is never separate from the original Vishnu. However, Lord Shiva and Brahma, due to their association with Maya, are different from Vishnu. Vishnu cannot be transformed into any form of material energy. Whenever there is association with Maya, the personality involved must be different from Lord Vishnu. Therefore, Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma are called Guna avatars, for they associate with the material qualities. The conclusion is that Rudra is not exactly Vishnu, but rather a transformation of Vishnu. Therefore, he does not come within the category of Vishnu Tattva. Thus, he is inconceivably one with Vishnu and different from him. The example given in this verse is very clear. Milk is compared to Vishnu. As soon as milk touches a sour substance, it becomes yogurt or Lord Shiva. Although yogurt is constitutionally milk, it cannot be used in place of milk. So Vishnu is milk, and because Lord Shiva is in touch with the material energy, he is considered yogurt. Shiram yata dadi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate natu pratha pritagasti hetoho ya shambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyad govindamadi. Oh, this is Govindam. Govind. Shiram yata dadi vikara vishesha yogat sanjayate natu tatha pritag asti hetoho ya shambhutam api tatha samupaiti karyad govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Milk changes into yogurt when mixed with the yogurt culture, but actually it is constitutionally nothing but milk. Similarly, Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, assumes the form of Lord Shiva, Shambhu, for the special purpose of material transactions. I offer my obeisances at his lotus feet. So this is the verse from Brahma Samhita, and the final one. Shiva Maya Shakti Sangita Guna Vesha Maya Tita Guna Tita Vishnu Paramisha. Lord Shiva is an associate of the external energy. Therefore, he is absorbed in the material quality of darkness. Lord Vishnu is transcendental to Maya and the qualities of Maya. Satyabhama, can you mute everyone else, please? Therefore, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Vishnu is beyond the range of the material manifestation. He is not within the control of the material energy. He is the supreme independent personality of Godhead. This is admitted even by Shankaracharya, Narayana Parovyaktat Gita Bhashya. In his constitutional form, Shiva is a Mahabhagavat, a supreme devotee of the Lord. But because he accepts Maya's association, especially the quality of ignorance, he is not free from Maya's influence. Such an intimate association is completely absent in the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Lord Shiva accepts Maya, but in the presence of Lord Vishnu, Maya does not exist. Consequently, Lord Shiva has to be considered a product of Maya. When Lord Shiva is free from Maya's influence, he is in the position of a Mahabhagavat, a supreme devotee of Lord Vishnu, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Beautiful. So let's see now, when he's in the position of Mahabhagavat, Lord Shiva is totally absorbed in the bliss of Krishna consciousness. We can stop the screen share now, Satyabhama. You know, people say, oh, Lord Shiva, you know, there are a lot of Shiva followers who claim, oh, Lord Shiva, he drinks wine, he drinks liquor, he smokes ganja. But there's nowhere in the scriptures where these things are mentioned. Nowhere. Lord Shiva is certainly intoxicated, but he's intoxicated with love of God. He's completely immersed in love of Krishna, and he's constantly meditating on the Lord's lotus feet with his 3 eyes. He's sometimes called Trilochana because he has 3 eyes, one in the middle of his forehead. So Lord Shiva loves Lord Krishna so much. Once he was deeply absorbed. Now I will relate some pastimes. Lord Shiva was so deeply absorbed that he was meditating on the Ras Leela of the Lord, and he was thinking how I can go to see Lord in Vrindavan. He was in deep meditation where on Mount Kailash, but he was so deeply absorbed, he was hearing Krishna's flute, divine flute, like that. So he went to Samadhi and he followed the transcendental sound all the way to Vrindavan, absorbed in that Samadhi. And Lord was getting ready to perform Ras Leela with the gopis, and he also wanted to go. So he came to the entrance and he was stopped by Yoga Maya. He says, "No men allowed, only ladies." So then he says, "What can I do? I long to go and see the Lord." Saying, "You have to become a gopi." He said, "What can I do?" Saying, "All right, go to Vrinda Devi." So he goes and offers obeisance, saying, "Vrinda Devi, please help me." So she says, "Okay, go to Manasarovar in Vrindavan and take a bath over there." And after taking a bath over there, Lord Shiva turns into a beautiful gopi. Haribol! And when he comes out, Yamuna herself clothes him with beautiful sari and jewels and paraphernalia and everything. Personally, she clothes him with all this paraphernalia because he's a beautiful gopi now, and she wants to help facilitate his pastimes as a gopi. So now Vrinda Devi takes Lord Shiva in the form of a gopi now to one corner of the Rasa Sthali, and then Lord Shiva stands there and he prays to Radha Krishna for getting some prema bhakti. And the Rasa dance started, and he was allowed to be there as one of the gopis. He also danced very elegantly. And then Lord Krishna detects that something is amiss. He says, "I have not found any man here. I'm not getting our usual pleasure. Something is not right. I think there's another man in our midst." So he asked Lalita Devi to go around and check all the gopis and make sure that no man is lurking around. So Lalita Devi goes around and she lifts the veils of all the hundreds of gopis there, but she cannot find any man there. So she comes back and she reports to Krishna. She says, "I have not found any man, but I have found one gopi with 3 eyes. Haribol, game is up." So Lord Krishna says, "All right, bring her to me." And then when he saw this Shiva gopi, he laughs and laughs. And he says, "All right, you are now Gopishwar. I'm very pleased with you in the form of gopi. But you know that no men are allowed, and this rasa is not meant for grihasthas. Therefore, since you have already participated and fulfilled your desire, I will offer you the post of Rasastha Dwarapal. That means you will guard this Rasasthan. And all the gopis will offer you respects and seek your blessings to get Gopi Bhava." So that's how Lord Shiva comes there as Gopishwar Mahadev. And he's so in love with Lord Krishna, he wants to serve him more. So in the form of a big hill, he comes as Nandishwar Mahadev in Nandagaon. Then he comes as Chakaleshwar Mahadev in Govardhan. When that Govardhan Leela pastime happens, it is said that as soon as Lord Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill, immediately a big pond formed, with all water just where he lifted that hill. And Lord Shiva came with his Trishul to just take up all that water. So he's called Chakaleshwar Mahadev over there. Then in Mathura, he's called Bhuteshwar Mahadev. So that's how much Lord Shiva loves Lord Krishna and wants to please and satisfy him in all respects. And here he is known as Gopishwar Mahadev, and this pastime is described in the Garga Samhita. So Gopishwar means Lord Shiva is the controller of the gopis. Krishna told him to guard the entrance of the rasa dance so that no one would be allowed to enter the rasa mandal without his permission. And I will just read this purport that Srila Prabhupada has given. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 30, verse number 38. The gopis worship Lord Shiva in Vrindavan, and the Lord is still staying there as Gopishwar. The gopis, however, prayed that Lord Shiva bless them by giving them Lord Krishna as their husband. There is no harm in worshipping demigods, provided one's aim is to return home back to Godhead. A Vaishnava's visit to the temple of Lord Shiva is different from a non-devotee's visit. A Vaishnava sees Lord Shiva as being simultaneously one with and yet different from the Supreme Lord, like yogurt and milk. The absolute truth God is everything, but this does not mean that everything is God. It is said, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, or that Lord Shiva is the highest Vaishnava. Like I said, Lord Shiva, Srila Prabhupada loved to quote this verse. So, what are we supposed to do today as Vaishnavas? Let's read a little bit about how we are supposed to honor Lord Shiva on this day. So, this day is very special. Hari Bhakti Vilas says that on Falgun Krishna Chaturdashi, which is today for us, many people celebrate it on a different day, but they are non-Vaishnavas. We celebrate it today because the Hari Bhakti Vilas says that on this day, Vaishnavas worship Lord Shiva. Falgun Krishna Chaturdashi is called Shivratri because on this day, Lord Shiva personally remains present in all Shivlingas on this earth. This is the most essential and important day of the year to honor Sri Krishna's greatest devotee, Shiva. Therefore, if one very strictly wants to honor Lord Shiva, one should fast and remain awake all night, Jagran, on Shiva Chaturdashi. Do Gaudiya Vaishnavas observe this vrat? Yes, it is very important and everyone should observe it, even if you have never done it before. In Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sanatan Goswami quotes Gautamiya Tantra. Shivaratri Vratam Vaishnava Karyam Sri Krishna Pritaye Sada. It is the duty of Vaishnavas to observe the Shivaratri vow, to remain forever dear to Sri Krishna. What are the benefits of this vrat? When devotees of Sri Krishna observe Shivratri, Lord Shiva shows his mercy by showering them with Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Haribo! One who worships Shiva today and remains awake all night will never take birth again in the material world. So, how to observe Shivratri Vrat? One should fast, worship Lord Shiva and remain awake the entire night. Then early at sunrise of Shiv Chaturdashi, one should read Rudra Gita, which is the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 24. Fast all day until next day's sunrise, or at least until midnight, and worship Shivlinga on the night of Chaturdashi. Go to the temple of Shiva and perform Harinam Sankirtan, offer milk, honey, and ghee to the Shivling, offer bill, leaves, and offer sesame seeds, arghya, flowers, ghee lamps, incense, etc. Stay up all night, chant Hare Krishna, dancing, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Shiva Tattva. So this is what is described as the worship of Lord Shiva on this day. What is the conclusion? When one receives the mercy of Lord Shiva, he will become free from false ego and the Purush Bhav of being the enjoyer. He will then manifest his eternally pure and true serving nature, Kinkari Bhava. The easily pleased Lord Ashutosh or Shiva will become satisfied with such a devotee. He will then grant him residence in the sweet land of Vrindavan to forever serve his divine sweethearts, Radhe Shyam. So we hope on this most auspicious day of Shivratri, everyone will please Lord Shiva in whatever way possible, honoring him and try to receive his mercy. Hari Bol.
Jai, so nice, beautiful. Sridevi Mataji has put together an amazing way from all the scriptures, from different references. She has shown us the glories of Lord Shiva. Hope you feel better. Mataji, please take hot water, maybe warm water, something. Mataji is also scholarly and she always gives us so nice instructions and enlighten us with the deep knowledge of Shastras. And I've quite a few things which I didn't knew about Lord Shiva, which I came to know today. Thank you so much, Sridevi Mataji. Devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realization, please share. Please say something about maybe glorify Lord Shiva, or if you have found any relationship, if you have built any, if you have worshipped Lord Shiva at any time, and how did you observe the fast of Shivratri, maybe. Thank you. Scarlett Mataji, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Yes, Hare Krishna. I'm sorry that I don't have my camera on because I don't have any cover on my head. So that's why I don't have camera on. Please forgive me. I try to follow the Vaishnava calendar where it says about Ekadashi and everything. But in there, it didn't say anything about fasting today. How come is that?
Yeah, generally on our Vaishnav calendars, there is no mention. It is not observed as one of the, Vaishnav festivals. The Vaishnav calendar is generally for all the festivals pertaining to Krishna and Vishnu Tattva, Because Lord Shiva is not a Vishnu Tattva, we are not, told so much about fasting. It is an optional thing, really. So those who want to can fast. It's not like how Janmashtami, we all know we have to fast. We know about Ram Navami, we know about God Purnima, we know about Balaram's appearance day. We know we have to fast on these days. And it is mandatory. But Srila Prabhupada never, gave instructions that you should do fasting on Shivratri, you should do Ganesh Puja, you should do Lakshmi Puja, you should do Saraswati Puja. He didn't encourage so much worship of all these other great demigods and goddesses and so on. So therefore, we don't really, insist. This is an optional thing. If people want to observe, they can observe. It is not mandatory.
Thank you very much, because I was worried. I thought, oh no, did I miss that? But it's good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Then I know I didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scarlett Mataji. Anyone else? So while we are waiting, I will just say what I did. Actually, in UK, Sridevi Mataji, we celebrated the Shivratri yesterday. There might be date confusion, but I have a small Shiv Parivar where I have Shivji, small ling of Shivji, and Parvati and Ganeshji. So I did the Abhishek with water and flowers, and that's how I performed. But I did not know that we as Vaishnavas could keep the fast of the Shivratri. So that's something I used to do before my marriage. In my family, everyone does it, but I stopped after joining ISKCON. So this was something new. But that's very nice. In one of the class, I also heard that there are 6 devotees who we always worship to get Krishna Prem, and like the Govardhan, Tulsi Maharani, and Shivji is one of them. So thank you so much for highlighting us on this today. And Amrita Mataji, you have a question?
Actually, I just want to elaborate a little bit more, on this topic, because it's very important to understand. See, Lord Shiva easily grants material benedictions, like I said before. And so Srila Prabhupada knew the tendency of all of us to run to Lord Shiva for material benedictions. So he discouraged too much of our involvement with trying to get, things from Lord Shiva. In fact, one of the early disciples of our ISKCON movement, he said, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. Why don't we place him also on the altar and worship him?" So Srila Prabhupada immediately turned to him and said, "Because you will run to him for material benediction, that's why we don't put him on the altar." He knew our tendencies. He knew that we would want, all these shortcuts and easy allurement. So he did not want us to get swayed and lose track of Krishna consciousness and run after Shiva for material benedictions. He wanted us to be very clear. So therefore, he was not allowing too much focus on Shiva worship. You see, It was for our protection.
No, absolutely, definitely, Mataji.
The philosophy, we might get carried away and chase after Lord Shiva for material benedictions. You see, and lose the gift of Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. This was useful. Thank you. Definitely. Namrata Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the wonderful class. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Guru Maharaj, all glories to all the devotees. Uh, Actually, I'm really sorry for joining late, but whatever I heard was really wonderful as usual from Sridevi Mataji, and which tempted me, to hear the recording as always. So yes, again a wonderful class, and especially this year I was more curious about reading about Lord Shiva, and I've gathered some articles as well. So I'll read it from that also. One of the thing I wanted to share was the question my son asked me, what you recently answered, what you just answered. So thank you for that. He said that he was asking if Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, then why we are not encouraged to worship so much? I mean, why are we considering Krishna highest? Lord Shiva is also highest Vaishnava. So thank you for that. Now I have the explanation to answer him. So thank you. One question this is just...
Okay,
Yeah.
let me just read the answer that you can give your son, just to make it very clear. Lord Shiva, his family is the greatest Vaishnava family. He engages his wife, his son Kartikeya, his other son Ganesh, all of them are engaged in Krishna Seva. So we can all follow the example of Lord Shiva to become an exemplary Vaishnava family. I heard one devotee say in a lecture that Lord Shiva, his wife Durga Devi, is of course very powerful, and she's engaged in Lord Krishna's service as Maya Devi, right? Durga Devi. His son Kartikeya is also engaged in the seva of Lord Krishna. His son Ganesh is also engaged in the seva of Lord Krishna. So all these his great powerful sons are all serving the Supreme Lord, even though they are very powerful demigods themselves. So like that, he engages his whole family in Krishna consciousness. Okay, please ask your question.
Yes, thank you very much. So my question was, when I've many times heard that in Ujjain, the Mahakaleshwar temple, they serve liquor or alcohol. They not serve, but offer it to the Lord, the Linga. And it is said, I mean, I always wonder whenever, there are somebody who is debating with me with the Lord Shiva's worship and Krishna's worship, they always mention this example that, and I totally understand that they have a mode of ignorance tendency. So because of why they are attracted to such kind of practices, but still I don't have a proper explanation to give them. So I was just wondering, how is this promoted? They offer the liquor is given to the priest, and they literally offer to the linga. It is taken as prasadam. How is it that? This doesn't fit in my mind, actually.
Something I heard in the lecture, so I have to read up a little more in depth myself. The beverages of the celestial world are very different from what we have here. Like somaras, for example, of Indradev, and the wine and the liquor of those heavenly planets that the demigods imbibe, they are not like the wine and liquor of this earthly planet. There's no comparison even. So if Lord Shiva and Lord Ganesh and Lord Indra and all, they're enjoying, somaras or wine or whatever it is, that is not the same as our these beverages here on our earthly planet as liquor and wine and things like that. And so therefore it is not an excuse to offer all these inferior quality beverages, and actually it's an excuse then to get intoxicated ourselves. They say, oh, Lord Shiva drinks wine, he drinks liquor, we can also drink. Lord Shiva smokes ganja, smokes weed, so we can also take marijuana. There is no such substantiation in the actual scriptures that Lord Shiva does all these things. This is all concoction. And Lord Shiva drank an ocean of poison. Can we compare our activities and say, oh, we'll also drink an ocean of poison? We cannot even dream of the power and the services of Lord Shiva. He held Ganga on his head, because if she came down with direct force, the earth would shatter to pieces. And so he agreed to hold her on his head. How powerful is Lord Shiva? On his matted coils, I mean, to contain her force. So Lord Shiva is such a powerful personality. To start comparing his activities and saying, I'm for Lord Shiva, so I can do like this. This is just cheap imitation of a great personality. We can never imitate great personalities. We must only humbly try to follow them. Prabhupada was very heavy on this, saying, don't try to imitate, follow these big personalities. So this is just my humble, explanation. You may like to read more and ask also more Vaishnavas to find out more about this.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. I am really finding the answer for this, because I have many times lot of people debate with me on this, so I have to find an answer for this. So yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
And please share with us.
Yes, sure. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Namrata Mataji. Scarlett Mataji, you can go next.
Yes, I have.
Let's go with Raja, because Scarlett has already asked a couple of questions, I think. Let's go with Raja.
Yeah, Vrajavlasni Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you, Mataji. Wonderful class. You explained about the safe. That's very wonderful. So I have a question that you were reading that paragraph from the Srimad Bhagavatam that Rudra born from the Brahma's head. So I was wondering, if there is a two Shiv, there's like one called Sadashiv and one Rudra or Shiv Shankar. Is it two Shankar or is it just one?
You asked very good question. There is a Sadashiv, and that Sadashiv is born differently. I'm not able to recall exactly at the time of creation. And then Sadashiv also is there in the partial form in Advaita Acharya. So there are different Shivas also. There's not just one Shiva. There are many different Shivas. So each of those Shivas takes birth also differently. This is just one Lord Shiva. I don't remember. I wish I could remember Sadashiv of the spiritual world and how
because I heard it in one of the lecture from Vaman Prabhuji. He says Sadashiv lives on that above this material world.
Yes.
And he's Kailas in this material world. And Sadashiv is never die. He never died. He just stays as Vishnu.
Yes. So Shiva Tattva. Yeah, it is a very deep subject matter. I did not go into such in-depth today for researching all the different origins of Lord Shiv. Please forgive me for that. But I think Chaitanya Charitamrita mentions this in creation. The first in Adi Leela. Let me just 1 second. I'll just look up which one we are talking about, and then you can read more about that, about Sadashiv. Yeah, in Glories of Advaita Acharya, chapter 6 of Adi Leela, you will read about Sadashiv also. So yeah, just read up that. I will also do some research to see what I can come up with. At the moment, I'm not able to give you definitive information.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Nice question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks, Vrija Mataji. Scarlett Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, please. I read about somewhere about Lord Krishna ask Lord Shiva help to get one of his wife pregnant with a boy or pregnant. Have I read right or is it wrong?
I've never heard anything like what you're talking about. So I don't know what pastime you're thinking of.
I read it in somewhere in some article. I will try to find it. It says something about Lord Krishna asked Lord Shiva to help his wife get pregnant. I don't remember if it was for a boy or pregnant, just pregnant. I don't remember that, but I'm going to try to find it. Then it must be something wrong there. Then it's not. It must be not right.
Yeah, just find
Maybe
out
Sridevi
more.
Mataji, you can do some research and then maybe separately you can answer
Thank
it,
you.
answer the question.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thanks, Khalid Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Raja Mataji, do you have any other question or is the just the old hand?
I think it's his old hand. Sorry, it's old
Thank you.
hand.
Anyone else? If anyone has any question, comments? Namrata Mataji, do you have anything to say? Sorry, I'll take Shilpesh Prabhu first because he just asked me. Yes, Shilpesh
just-
Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, just a follow-up from what Scarlet Mataji was. I'm not 100% sure, but it's Jamvanti, and there was a benediction from Shiva to him to get a part and parcel, which is Sam. I don't know the exact reference, but it is the benediction to Jamvanti, not some help or something. It is a benediction from Shiva to Jamvanti to get a part and parcel as a son, which was the Sam.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks, Namrata Mataji. Maybe Sridevi Mataji, you can look up to it and next time you can explain. Shilpesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji, a lovely class and a very enlightening topic today. I've got a question. It's not actually about Shiva, it's just a general question, but I thought I'd ask you. Two non-devotees over time have said to me, whether you chant 16 rounds or 1 round, it's all the same to Krishna. How do we answer them? Like, no, it's, there is a reason why we chant 16 rounds minimum.
Sridevi Mataji, are you there?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is some concoction they have come up with. That whether you chant 1 round or 16 rounds, it's all the same to Krishna is just pure BS. Sorry, it's just concoction. This is the kind of nonsense people just, say to get away with their substandard practices and confuse, bewilder, and mislead others. So this kind of philosophical deviation, we must come down very heavily and say, stop this nonsense. Srila Prabhupada has said that the most important instruction of the spiritual master that everyone must follow is to chant 16 rounds every day on the beads without fail. Srila Prabhupada said this was his most important instruction. So what are you talking about? Don't mislead others. So just tell them that to their face. Tell them, don't spread these lies, don't spread these concoctions, don't spread these deviations. Take your nonsense, go somewhere else, and don't spoil our devotees' minds.
And
So
is it fair to say to them also that the more we chant, the more purified we get?
You don't have to mollify or mollycoddle them by trying to, placate them. Just be very straightforward and tell them the facts. Tell them what is the absolute truth as told by Srila Prabhupada. You can repeat it word for word from the, from where it is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam and say, look, I'm quoting Srila Prabhupada over here. And then after that, if you want to say something more, you can say, we chant. But don't try to dilute it by saying, no, we chant more because the more you chant, the more. You say, no, this is a concoction. 16 rounds is the minimum. So be very straightforward. See, we are going to be challenged like this. We are going to be challenged, folks. We are going to be challenged. Srila Prabhupada's physical presence is not there, but his instructions are there in his books. His instructions are there in the form of our spiritual masters. And if we don't keep the standard, it will simply get more and more diluted over the years. Remember, this movement has to carry on for the next 10,000 years based on Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Who is going to uphold it? We. So do not shy away from telling them the truth. Tell it as it is. Be straightforward. Don't shy away from speaking the truth. If they claim that chanting 1 round is the same as chanting 16 rounds, challenge them. Where have you read this? Show me in the Shastra where it says. Take them and, take it apart one by one. Show me where it is in the Shastra. Show me where Prabhupada said this. Where have you come up with this idea? And they'll all be like, then you counter that by saying, look, this is what Prabhupada said. This is where here. Let's look it up. Let's help Shilpesh Prabhu. I'm going to look it up right now because Prabhupada said this. The most important instruction of the spiritual master. I wish I could remember the Srimad Bhagavatam, but I'm going to look it up for you.
Thank you. Obviously, these people are not devotees of Srila Prabhupada. They are just generally spiritual devotees, but they're not necessarily devotees. So that's why they don't follow our instructions of Srila Prabhupada.
Sorry?
I was just saying that these people who say this aren't actually proper devotees. They're not devotees of Srila Prabhupada. They're just generally spiritual devotees or so forth.
Or they're not chanting every day.
So they're not devotees of ISKCON. They're just generally people who are on the spiritual path. Okay. Letter to Gandharva Das, 12 January 1975. Please do not fail to chant 16 rounds. Rise early, read my books carefully, and follow all the regulative principles. If you just Google this, you will find so many references. Some years
Mataji,
back,
let me share my screen. I have found your references. I will share my screen and then you can read it out.
Very good. Okay, Chaitanya Charitamrita 2:22-113.
Check the latest, Mataji. This is the different Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam references. Are you looking at my screen?
Okay. Yes. But it's very small, so maybe we can increase.
Let me increase the font. Can you see now?
Yeah, I can see, but I cannot read. Can you just send that link in the chat? Then I can open it up on my screen here.
Sure.
That's good. That is good.
I've sent it to you, Mataji.
Okay. So the one which I was looking for of all the regulative principles, that's in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay. Let's go to this one. I will choose the one which. Yes. Go on chanting. Therefore, we give regulative principle that one must chant at least 16 rounds. This is lecture, Los Angeles, January 14, 1969. Chant Hare Krishna, minimum 16 rounds, October 9, 1975. Chant 16 rounds, and if you follow, that is surrendering to Krishna, August 4, 1971. When we do our chanting, why do we chant 16 rounds, Prabhupada? Not 16 rounds, you can chant unlimitedly. So at least 16 rounds, this is bare minimum. And Prabhupada has clearly said that we have to chant 16 rounds.
There are some Srimad Bhagavatam references as well, Mataji, if you want to scroll down on the same page.
Okay, I'm looking up that exact quote. The exact one which I want to lecture. Let's see, Srimad Bhagavatam is further down. I'm seeing only lectures. Well, basically, I want you to understand, Shilpesh Prabhu, do not get misled. I'm concerned about you because you are, just coming to Krishna consciousness and you're just taking shelter of Gurudev. So I'm concerned that you do not get swayed by these people who are, coming up with these weird ideas, So are you convinced, Prabhu? First and foremost, you need to be convinced.
No, I know for sure. I know this. At the moment, I'm not able to chant 16 rounds, but I chant every day. I'm building up due to health issues. I know I have chanted 16 rounds, but I wasn't able to maintain it due to my health issues. So I chant every day, I chant regular, I chant a set number of rounds. And over time, the idea is to build up, but I do chant every day.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Nobody began, at least I didn't begin with 16 rounds. I also built my way up slowly. But one must never forget that this is the most important thing. See, I have found the quote and I have sent it to you in the chat. Of all the regulative principles, the spiritual master's order to chant at least 16 rounds is most essential. One may have other duties to perform under the direction of the spiritual master, but he must first abide by the spiritual master's order to chant a certain number of rounds. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have recommended that the neophyte chant at least 16 rounds. This chanting of 16 rounds is absolutely necessary if one wants to remember Krishna and not forget him. Of all the regulative principles, the spiritual master's order to chant at least 16 rounds is most essential. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22.113. So Srila Prabhupada didn't focus he didn't say, what? Can you think of it? Oh, you must wear dhoti kurta. You must wear sari only. He didn't say that. This is the one thing he said. Chant 16 rounds every day without fail. There's a very beautiful pastime memory with Nanda Kumar. Nanda Kumar was, slackening a little bit. This was very early days. And so Srila Prabhupada, he was a personal servant to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada asked him, so Nanda Kumar, have you chanted your rounds? No, I think I missed out and all. Then saying, will you chant? Yes. The next day again, oh no, I think I missed out something. Prabhupada said 16 rounds every day without fail. And then his eyes became very big, saying, if you do not chant your 16 rounds every day without fail, then your whereabouts are unknown. And Nanda Kumar says in that memories pastime, he says, I realized that, I would be like a little lost child if I didn't hold on to my spiritual master's hand, if I didn't chant my 16 rounds, my whereabouts will be unknown. So he took that very seriously from that point on. So just telling you why I'm stressing so much is because all these kind of concoctions will come to attack us. This is Kali Yuga, And so we must not allow these people deviations to take us off track. Philosophical deviations, Prabhupada was very heavy, like a lion. So we also have to become like lions. Sorry about that. To protect you. I'm saying this to protect you.
Love your lioness attitude, Mataji. Amazing. Thank you. We need devotees like you, seriously, to hold on to. We can hold on to.
I'm just holding on, barely holding on to my Gurudev's lotus feet over here. What can I do?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. Amazing answer. Thank you. Brilliant. And I really like it that you try to help us all. This is so you go extra mile to try and, find the answer. And it's just so nice the way we feel like someone is there, apart from spiritual master, definitely like, Guru Maharaj is there, but your mercy is always feel like flowing, and the powerful, lectures we get from you, it's like Srila Prabhupada is speaking through you, saying, do your 16 rounds.
So much shelter, so much love, so much mercy, so much instruction, and he has tolerated and continues to tolerate so much of my nonsense. How can I not do my best for all of you? Tell me. I would be such an ungrateful disciple if I did not do my best. I have to do my best for all of you.
Jai, thank you so much. Thank you. Any other questions, devotees? Otherwise, we can close this call. We have crossed past 1 hour. Okay, we will close the call. Thank you so much, Mataji, for your association, your instructions, enlightenment, everything. You do it for all of us.
Thank you, but I'm just concerned about the effect all this has had on Shilpesh Prabhu. I hope, Prabhu, you're not feeling overwhelmed by what I have said, but you have understood the import of what I have spoken. I hope it has not become too much for you.
I just wanted to know how to counter somebody, because, you know, I'm not chanting 16 yet, and it's like you said, you can be swayed by people who mean well, but they don't